Hello everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. My name is Stephanie, I'm the Marketing and Promotions Manager here at the store, and since it's February, which is Black History Month, I thought I would talk about some books that I thought might be great reading for February and at any time to celebrate Black history. So all of my books have something to do with history. I've got 2 nonfiction, I've got 2 regular fiction, and 2 fiction that's more on the fantastical side, but all have history as a theme throughout, so I thought they would be good choices. So we'll start with the nonfiction. So first up is Stamped from the Beginning by Ibram X. Kendi. I know a ton of people have been buying this over the past year, especially since last June after the murder of George Floyd. So if you are one of those people who bought it and haven't read it yet, now is the perfect time to pick it up. I mean, I know it's a lot to go through, but it is really, really good. And it's basically the premise of the book that he draws throughout the entire thing are the 2 main ideas, which is that certainly an idea that I used to have, which was that racism is a result of people, hate creates racism, creates these awful laws, but really it goes the other way, where there's these laws that are these things that are created that then create the racism and then the hate. So he's kind of showing how people have used racism as a tool through the centuries to manipulate people and to keep power and wealth, and concentrated on very few people. And then the other idea is that whenever anti-racist agendas have been brought forward and have been, whenever the anti-racist ideas have triumphed, racist ideas also work in the background to evolve and get ahead. So I think right now in particular it's very important that we remember that just because we feel like things are getting better, we're making, laws are changing, and strides are being made to make the world a better place and less racist, that doesn't mean that we can just sit back and say, yay, it's all done. We really need to keep working and stay vigilant. And he shows this throughout history through sort of 5 narrators, or through sort of 5 points of view, telling the stories of, Cotton Mather and Thomas Jefferson, and William Lloyd Garrison, W.E.B. Du Bois, and Angela Davis. And so through these 5 people, he kind of takes you through a history of racism and slavery and enslaved people, and through today, essentially. So really excellent book. Can't recommend this enough. So if you are one of those people who you bought the book because you wanted to do some work and then got intimidated by how big it is, just take it in small chunks, read it a little bit at a time, you'll get through it and you'll be really glad you did. So if the size of Stamped from the Beginning daunts you, is a little bit daunting, a shorter history book, well, memoir really, Trevor Noah's Born a Crime. So I think everyone knows him by now as the host of The Daily Show, and he is a very funny guy. He's a stand-up comedian, very up on, obviously, since he runs The Daily Show, he knows a lot about current affairs and history, but this book isn't, I mean, there's his voice is in it, and he's very funny, but it's not like a tell-all how I became the host of The Daily Show. This is his actual story of growing up in apartheid South Africa, and more specifically how it's called Born a Crime because when his mother is black and his father was white, so when he was born it was literally in South Africa a crime for him to exist. So he talks about the history, like this is, like the 80s and some references to earlier times, but it says if you don't know much about apartheid in South Africa and how that evolved over time, this is a great way to get more familiar with that, and through Trevor Noah's funny voice. So he tells a lot of kind of horrific things, but there's also humor in it, so it kind of makes it a little more bearable because because he's a funny guy, but he's gone through some things, and it's a good book. So, Born a Crime. All right, on to fiction. So first up, Girl, Woman, Other by Bernardine Evaristo. Olivia talked about this a couple weeks ago for her winter reading because it's a nice thick book to really get your teeth into. But this is also a good one for history. Specifically, this is pretty much every chapter is told from a different black woman's or black person's perspective in the UK. So and the narrators vary in age and in like place in life and in class, and so they stretch a wide range of voices. But there are, if you're not as familiar with the Black experience in the UK and in Britain, this is a really good one to get your teeth into. And if you want to hear more about Olivia's take on it, you can watch her video on it. But it's really well done, and it does take you. It doesn't go like way back, but it goes about there's parts that are like 100 years in the past, and then it takes you through a more modern experience, so you get this wide range of how the past has affected the future and how the experiences have changed through time for these different women. So another excellent book. All right, so slightly shorter one, Homegoing by Yagyasi. And this is, I feel like both Girl, Woman, Other and this one have an element of a novel that I like, where it almost feels like a short story collection, because each chapter focuses on a different person, and so they're these little, everything is connected together, but it's very episodic in a way. So I think that's a fun way to experience a story. But Homegoing starts in the 18th century in Africa. And the premise is there are two sisters, and basically one of them stays in Africa and marries into a tribe that are helping with the slave trade, and the other sister is taken as a slave to America. And then each chapter alternates between these two sides of the family, kind of taking a step forward in time. So you see the line in Africa and the line in America, and how different their experiences are. And you get this, one of the main things that I really took away from this book was the sense of loss on the American side, where on the African side, they know their ancestry, they know going back hundreds of years who their lineage, whereas on the American side, because people are stolen, because people are sold, because people just are poor and lose track, that they don't have this same sense of lineage and history. It's these stories that are just lost to time. And so I this did a really brilliant job of showing these different experiences through history and time. So highly recommend. Ta-Nehisi Coates' The Water Dancer. This just came out in paperback not too long ago, so I feel like everyone has probably heard of this book by now. But it's set in slave times in Virginia, and the main character, Hiram Walker, his mother is black, his father is the plantation owner, and the book basically opens with him almost drowning, but somehow magically being okay. He gets out of it, and he comes to realize throughout the course of this book that he has this sort of magical power that he spends, that he needs to figure out how to use. But a lot of the book is about the Underground Railroad and the different sorts of people that are on it, both black and white. And there's a really great cast of characters in this book that are in. I was really impressed with how well the women characters were depicted in this book. There's a lot of really great women characters, including Harriet Tubman. And they're all really well developed, round, real people, and hear him sort of journey through. He never likes being a slave, but he doesn't realize he's in the beginning. He doesn't quite fully understand how downtrodden he is. So this journey he goes on is really amazing, and the people that he encounters, and just the different perspectives, and just seeing him grow throughout the book is really amazing, and it's a really good book. All right. And my last book is a little bit shorter one and a little bit more fantastical. This is The Deep by Rivers Solomon, and essentially this is a book involving mermaids, but not like The Little Mermaid, but they're more monstrous than that. They're more, and this is I'm putting this in as a historical because it's based on the idea that during the slave trade, when slave ships were crossing the Atlantic and there were women who were pregnant, the slavers didn't want to deal with it, so these women were often thrown overboard. So the genesis for these the water people that are the focus of this book is that these women who are thrown overboard, they sort of become one with the ocean and they give birth to creatures that can survive in this different environment. And so the main character, Yetu, she is the memory holder for her people. Everybody else, they all go about their lives, they're very happy, and they never have to deal with the memory of how they became, how the trauma of these women thrown overboard, the trauma of being stolen from their lands. And so they always have one person who holds all the memories, and then once a year they all get together and they relive the memories, and then the memory keeper takes it all back. And Yetu can't handle it. She's the next one in a long line of these memory keepers, and it's too much. And so during one of these rituals where she's sharing the memories, she runs away before the memories can be taken back to her. And so this is really a story, even though it's fantastical with mermaids, but it's really a story about memory and the importance of memory and how hard it is if you're the only one who really understands what's going on. So those are my book selections for today. If by chance you aren't connecting with any of these, we do have tons and tons of selections on our Celebrate Black History Month page. Tons of different books, like in every subject you can imagine. There are, surprisingly, or not surprisingly, lots of Black authors who've written amazing books, so check them out. We also have a series of videos from Dr. Brenda J. Allen, that she did with us back in August about race matters. So those videos are also on that page, so make sure to check that out. So thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you liked it. We'd love it if you'd subscribe and like this video, and that's it for me today. Bye.